The state's case continues with the cross of the lead homicide investigator. So this defendant is accused of stabbing Christina Parcell. Back in 2021, her body was found by her fiance, had rose petals scattered all around it. Now, the defendant is very close friends with the victim's ex. His name is John Melo, that guy in the middle there. Now, prosecutors say that the men had a plan to harass Parcell by sending nude photos of her colleagues, photos of her to her colleagues and to her friends. Now, the lead detective on the case revealed some text messages that were sent between the two. Take a look.
Says secret phone number, got I dude, private Christina's.
All right. So how did you interpret that in relation to this investigation?
I interpret that as, dude, I've got Christina's private number. It says harass of her 5142, we can the 864 out 483.
So how did you interpret that in relation to this case?
I believe he's providing Christina's phone number, which I know ends in 5142. He's saying harass out of her.
Okay, so to boil it down, this guy is being accused of killing on behalf of or for his dear friend. Okay, that's the gist of it. There's a lot of players involved here. So what do we know about that dear friend, John Melo, the victim's ex? Let's talk about it. Let me bring in our guest now. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor David Bruno's on the show. And want to welcome in investigative reporter Troy Stiles, who's been in the courtroom watching this case in person every day. Good morning to you both. And Troy, I want to start with you, please. So tell us, what are the biggest things that are jumping out to you as you're watching this one in person?
Julie, it's more about what the jury is not hearing that really makes this case interesting. So this is a gruesome murder, and we see that in the crime scene. She was stabbed multiple times and drug across the floor and rose petals scattered across, the crime scene. So we've heard from forensic experts. The state has done a great job in laying out their case, but I think the jury is still questioning the motive and connections and even more circumstances in this case that are still unanswered. The defense is doing a great job in cross, but Zachary Hughes has a ton of support in the courtroom and many prominent figures in the community that are there every day to support him.
That's really interesting. Troy, thank you for that. David Bruno, when it comes to whether the state can prove this case, I'm curious what you think as a former prosecutor.
Well, the surveillance video that I hear coming out of that courtroom is going to be critical. They have the murderer coming out with clothing as well as a bicycle, and then they have surveillance video around town seeing Hughes with the same bicycle in his truck, same clothes. Then you pile on with these text messages and the communications with Melo. Really, I just have so many questions as to why. It looks like they have the right guy with the evidence that I'm hearing about, but why does Hughes, a successful pianist, go and do this for Melo? Is this for money? Is this for a friendship? Is this extortion? That's really the question I have as I'm hearing this evidence.
Right. David, you raise a really great question. How far does one go for a friend? This is about as far as it gets, if you believe the state's allegations here. And then the other part of this that Troy, you touched on it, the jury's not hearing, and this part intrigues me the most, is that this woman, this victim in the homicide, was allegedly victimizing someone else in a child porn case. Troy, what can you tell us about that?
What I can tell you is that at the center of this case is a minor child that the two shared, the victim of this case and John Melo. I actually have interviewed John Melo and sat down with him multiple times, and he tells me that he met Zachary Hughes just a handful of times with his daughter. They actually went to dinner together, and Zachary was very impressed by the daughter. And then when John Melo had to put the daughter on the plane and return her due to a Hague order, he called Zachary Hughes. And Zach came to Italy and spent some time with him there, actually several weeks. And he was very upset that John was in this situation. But is she, like you said, alleged, is she this did she victimize children and this child pornography? Was she really involved? Or is John Melo just creating these emails and all this all this harassment based on wanting to get back at her and revenge, and led Zachary Hughes to believe it. And he was so compelled that he actually committed this brutal murder. We'll have to see what the jury thinks, but they're not hearing about the child pornography or anything else having to do with that part of this case, Julie.
Right, exactly, Troy. And David Bruno, this is a perfect question for you. Is that a problem? Do you think this is a problem in particular for the defense, that the jury isn't hearing about this?
Well, the defense is trying to get it out. They've been trying to get it out. They tried to do it in pretrial motions. They did it last court hearing as well, when they were in front of the court and said, look, the prosecutor opened the door to this. And what that means is, even though there's a pretrial ruling that the child pornography found in the residence is inadmissible, they really made the custody issue very relevant by calling the guardian, the attorney, that was saying that this guy, Melo, was continuing to communicate with her and sending her images and all these things. And I guess what the defense is saying is that the reason that he's doing that and he's being an advocate in the way he did it is because of the concerns that he had with the child. And this evidence kind of supports that as the why a parent would actually go to that length, and those lengths by sending emails and communications to the guardian. So that's where the defense is standing up and saying they opened the door to this coming in because that was the concern that Melo had.
David, thank you for that. We know that Christina Parcell's fiance, Bradley Post, does have an active child pornography case. The jury can't know that's his case. They just know he's wearing the orange jumpsuit. Troy, you saw him testify. And one thing I'm so curious about is if you noticed any reaction from the jurors, if you got any sense of how they might have received Mr. Post and his testimony.
Julie, all jurors know about Bradley Post is that he has 9 charges. They have no idea what any of those charges are. And one of those charges is buggery as well, which in South Carolina, this is not going to fly well. If the jury happens to find out what Bradley Post's charges are and they connect all the dots in this case, Zachary Hughes could get off.
Wow. Yeah, no, this is really something.
I don't know how that would happen, though. I mean, the forensics, you got the forensics underneath the fingernails of the victim on Hughes. You have the surveillance. It's going to be a difficult case even with that stuff.